Magic in the morning, a little Kylie Minogue, and 8:34 and change. So we'll round it up to 8:35 so we can bring you this week's installment of Good Policies with Barrett Agency. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Does that mean I'm actually on time for the first time in a long time?
Well, yeah.
You weren't going to say anything, but I will.
It's all relative. Hey, how was your long weekend?
It was good. It was, Ethan had a baseball game on Saturday. That was fun. Putted around the house a little bit, caught up on some television, took moments and just hung out. It was a nice weekend. So.
All right. Well, here we are, Mike, the other side of Memorial Day, and most people look at it as the unofficial start of summer. You know what a lot of people do in summertime?
Vacation.
That's right.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks may not have a lot of faith in their transportation, or they have traveled somewhere by plane and they still have to motor around. We haven't talked about renting insurance.
We haven't. And actually, I thought it might be a good idea because, last week I wasn't here because I was traveling. I was on my way back from Southeast Missouri, went down there for my niece's graduation from not eighth grade, senior year in high school. My God. Wow, she's that old. Anyway, we flew down, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law live at 2 hours south of St. Louis. I needed wheels, so I had to rent a car. So I went through the process that I often will advise on when I'm talking to clients. When you're at that rental car counter, what do you do? Do you take all the upsell and buy all their insurance, or do you not? The simple answer is it's got to be your comfort level. That's the truth of it, Jeff. It's got to be with what you're comfortable with. If you feel more comfortable buying the insurance they're offering, go for it. Do you need to? Not really. You could probably work around it. Let's think about some of the things. It is probably the most confusing part, Jeff, of rental cars is if you're renting a car, your auto policy will be excess coverage, meaning if you have coverage on the rental car and that coverage is exhausted, your auto policy liability will kick in. Well, what happens if you don't choose their coverage? Well, it goes right to your auto policy. So you have coverage for liability. Very big to know. There are some gray areas to be concerned about. Let's talk about if you damage the rental car. Ooh, what happens if you damage it? So if you don't buy what they consider their full boat insurance, you can choose a pared down version of what they offer, which could be one of two different names. They call it a loss deductible waiver, so an LDW, or a collision deductible waiver, a CDW. Those will kick in for physical damage caused to the car by you, or while you're in your care under your rental contract. So even if somebody hits you and you're parked, you're still going to be responsible for the damage to that car. There can be some cause to say that your auto insurance will cover that. Because, again, we're talking excess coverage. So if you have comprehensive and collision on your auto insurance, there's an argument to say that you're covered for that. There is some room for concern, such as what if they try to charge you for every day they can't rent that car and it's in the shop? Your auto insurance isn't going to cover that. What if they try to charge you for depreciated value of that car because now you've put it in harm's way and it's damaged? Your insurance is not going to cover that. So you can buy the loss deductible waiver or collision deductible waiver for much less money, or do what I did. This is my favorite. Look at your credit cards. A lot of the credit card companies have coverage available, and I have an American Express card that allowed me to put up to $100,000 of collision coverage or damage coverage on this rental car for one fantastically low price. So it's really about understanding your comfort level. Always have a dialogue. There are options on your auto insurance, but you want to make sure you're filling the gaps because it's the gaps that you're trying to fill to prevent you from financial harm.
All right, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I am cross-eyed trying to follow. No, really. There's so many variables there.
There are.
Most people will say, always best err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
Have yourself covered.
I know a lot of people in my industry, Jeff, that's what they do. They will buy the full boat insurance through the rental car company. That's their comfort level, They know better, but they still do it.
Okay, so the question is, if you didn't damage the vehicle, do you get that money back?
No.
See?
Nay. So, so it is extra money on the table. You are probably going to be spending an extra $20+ a day for the rental car if you buy all of their insurance. The way that I did it on my credit card, I just simply had a one-time charge that was a lot less than that, and it covered me for the duration of the rental car, just because I used that card to pay for the rental car. So it's just doing a little bit of research on what's available to you. Having a conversation with your insurance provider is never a bad thing. I have an article I like to provide to people that gives them kind of the potential limitations that can exist. So it gives them an opportunity to read for themselves and go, I think I'm good, or this concerns me. You know, you're gonna come to one of those two conclusions after reading that.
So my conclusion is this: if I were to go on vacation, say to Las Vegas, I'm not going to rent a Hyundai. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to. I'm in Vegas. I want to rent something.
You're a high roller, man. What's going on?
That's right. Well, I'm not going to rent a Honda either. I mean, if I can, I'm going to get something much nicer. So obviously, I'm going to lean towards a more expensive vehicle.
Oh,
you see where I'm going.
Oh, I know where you're going. I went there. I mean, when I secured my rental car for my trip to Missouri, I secured a Ford Explorer. And you know, when you get to the counter, they're going to be like, would you like to upgrade, sir? Mm-hmm. Yes, I would. So I had a Chevy Tahoe. And it was tough, and it was fun, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. But yes, I'm driving a very high-valued vehicle at that point.
Well, and my insurance would not with my...
If you have liability only, and I don't know if that's what you have, but if that's what you have, then you have to get the coverage.
Right. No, I have full coverage.
Oh,
but
good. Okay.
It is at a rate that I can have my vehicle fixed, not a 2026 Mustang.
You know, I'm super glad you brought that up, because that's another great consideration, right? Is that you need to think about the limits of coverage that you do have on your policy, and would that be sufficient if you're insuring a vehicle driving around in Vermont. Now you're in Las Vegas with a Cadillac Escalade, Mr. High Roller, you might want to get their insurance so you have broader coverage. And that's actually, Jeff, something I never even considered. So thank you for that, because you really brought that to life. That's a great point to make, because you're going to get more appropriate limits and make sure you have proper coverage while you're driving around.
Yeah, so. I'm pretty sure the insurance on my 2013 Pilot isn't going to equate to a
well, it's still going to respond
Escalade.
the same way on the actual cash value of a vehicle, but is that going to make the rental car company happy? Probably not. Now, remember, they self-insure. They don't carry the same insurance we do. They self-insure, meaning they provide the statutory requirements to their states that they're in, that they have the ability to insure themselves, which doesn't change the game, but it does put the playing field solely on them. So...
Well, you mentioned it in the midst of our conversation. You need to have that conversation, have that dialogue with your agent.
Yeah, so simple. Give us a call, 748-5224. You can find us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
All right, Mike, I'm glad you had a nice long weekend. Just keep in mind, it's Tuesday and not Monday.
No, it's Monday.
I knew you were. All right. Good policies with Magic in the morning. Our hometown minute coming up shortly. Right now, it's Wild Willie's. Getting jiggy with it on Magic.